right, members of the media, we have Bridgeport High School head coach Dave Marshall, players Anderson McDougal, Arion Dodd, and Gavin Williams. Dave, a few comments on the game, then we'll field questions.
Yeah, hats off to North Marion, Coach Harbert and his staff. They just took it to us. They just smacked us in the mouth, so to speak, in the first, especially early in the game. And then we had to play a little bit different the way we wanted it. Kind of the whole first half, we were fighting ourselves. And they took us out. They did to us defensively what we've been able to and that we pride ourselves on doing to other teams. Took us out of shots. Our shooting percentage was terrible, and I think that's a credit to them. It's going to be a heck of a championship game tomorrow, I believe. But I got a lot of respect for Coach Harbert and his staff, and congratulations to them. And the old saying, some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield, and we're the bug today, and congratulations to them.
Question?
You won the points of the pit significantly.
Yeah.
You lost by 6 today.
Yeah.
What's kind of different from what you
They really, I don't know. I mean, I think a part of it was the pressure they put on the ball, and especially early. I talked about early, we looked out of sorts. We were standing, and if you went back and compared the film of the East Fairmont game, the game before that, we were just cutting and cutting. We weren't always getting the ball off the cuts, but we were causing the defense to move, and we just uncharacteristically we just stood, and then we tried to penetrate whenever there's got 2 or 3 guys right there. The only way you're going to get that penetration is, and these guys know this, you've got to move the ball and you've got to cut, open up the gaps, and then attack them, and it just got away from us early. And again, that's hats off to them. I think they put a lot of pressure on the ball, and then they just, I don't think it wasn't that our guys weren't ready. I can tell you right now, they wanted to play this game. It just didn't go their way, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Huskies over there.
How would you just evaluate this season, just with this trio of juniors having to step up?
I tried to say a couple words in the locker room, and I think it's something that I need to. We'll have a team get together next week, and I can get my head a little bit clearer. But I'll tell you what comes to my mind real quick is we lost 6 seniors from our state championship team last year. We come back with only 2 guys that have any varsity experience, much varsity experience at all. We have 0 size. That's been a theme for us all year long. And none of this is, oh, pity us, feel sorry for me. It's just, this is the reality. And I'll put our schedule up against anybody's in the state. And here we are 20-5, and we just played in the state semifinals. None of us here are happy or in that locker room, but I think these guys, the growth that they showed this year is remarkable, and what they have accomplished once we get these tears out of our eyes in a couple days, I think we're going to realize is pretty incredible.
What's that next step to take?
I think I'm hopeful that the pain they're feeling right now is going to drive them, and I know they're going to work as individuals, but drive them for those things that we do in the summer, the things we off season when we find ourselves in this situation again. They have had a front row seat to some of the greatest leadership I've ever coached, and I mean last year's group with Phoenix and Landon and Jack Spatafor and those guys. But this year, what Sam Romano did, and I know he only scores 2-4 points a game. What he did in the locker room, on the practice floor, energy every day. The question now becomes for me, and this is the exciting part of coaching young guys, I get to find out if they're going to step up and do that. Boy, the pressure's on them. And I think, here's what I believe, because these guys are competitors. I think they step up, and I think they embrace that. But the pressure's on them, man. They can't drop that ball that these guys have carried before them. And I don't just mean winning games. I mean how they approach every day and the way they treat their teammates and the way they treat their community. I'm excited for that standpoint. I wish I could coach this team one more day, but hats off to them.
And I guess for the players, how has it been just kind of growing into this leadership role over the season?
I mean, we definitely had to step up since we lost all those seniors last year. But, I mean, practices, we just started to get our talking up, and the leadership just, arose. And, I mean, we just love each other. So, it's just fun being out there.
It was definitely different for me this year, coming from last year, just a JV player lots of seniors, so I was just quiet and wasn't really in the big picture. But this year having to step up and just be the one in practice leading by example. So
I'd say it was a fun ride and can't wait to get back at it next year, but I think that we played very well for the little amount of experience that the players had in our team, and I felt like a lot of the bench players stepped up throughout the season. So it's not just us also that stepped up, it's the players that, played JV last year and the year before and got 0 varsity minutes and then got moved up halfway through the season and then played very well. I feel like as a team, towards the end of the season, we started gelling and we started playing better, and today North Marion just got the best of us.
How difficult is it to play from behind against them because
Yeah.
times this year?
Yeah. It's great, and we had to do something that's not in our best interest defensively, and we had to try to do more trapping and more extending the court. I've always likened to what we do to our football program over the years. We got to control the ball, and we got to play good defense. And if we have to get out and play an athletic game, if we're playing a team that in football, that if we have to become that team that's trying to throw the ball 25 times a game, we're probably in trouble most nights. No matter what the kids think, we're probably in trouble. And that's when that game gets extended and it becomes more about athlete on athlete. We got some pretty good athletes here, but they've probably got more than we do, and they're a little bit stronger upstairs than we are. And to their credit, every time that we made a mini run, if you want to call it that, and there would be a dead ball, usually out of a timeout, they come back and scored the next possession, and they just kind of smashed us in the mouth, and they didn't give us any chance to get back in the game. I looked up, I was amazed that the way it went for us. I think there was like 2 or 3 minutes left, and we're down maybe 8 points. And I'm like, wow. And I told him at the time, guys, we couldn't have played any worse. And here we're down 8 points to that outfit. I think that speaks well of our guys, but also well of them because they didn't let us close it any closer than that.
Their starters are great, but Mason Parrish had some massive.
Oh, how about that? Yeah. And they was spreading out the top and forcing us to kind of play that, and we had to help, because then we're just going to drive all the way to the basket. Again, that's good coaching, knowing who your personnel are and guys being ready to do their job. Because I don't think Parrish has had a ton of minutes through most of this season, but he knows what his role is. So, again, hats off to him. They just did what they had to do.
Any further questions? All right.
Thank you, guys, for all the work you do for our kids.
Gentlemen, you may take your cards and coach the rest of the teams in there. head coach Stephen Harbert, players Eli Ramsey, Connor Ballins, and Mason Parrish. Coach, a few comments on the game, then we'll field questions.
It was a hard-fought game. We knew it was going to be tough. Bridgeport, a lot like Shady, really good defensively. I got a lot of respect for Coach Marshall and his program. They've what he's done there has been really good, and we're just blessed that we were able to pull ahead. We knew it was going to be tough, and we're just blessed we pulled ahead. And I thought our guys did a great job executing in the third quarter, and then down the stretch, executing and making our foul shots later. So.
Question.
How important was it to make them chase you?
I'm sorry.
How important was it to make them chase you, to have the lead early?
It's real important. I mean, I think it's like a risk reward with how we play. We want to play at our pace and our tempo, and sometimes it's we can go on a stretch of not scoring or missing some shots. It's always great to get the lead early and to speed people up and make them take quick shots. I mean, that's kind of our goal. But the credit to them, to our guys, is that even when we didn't make some shots or miss some layups, we missed some bunnies, and we just kept going. And it's been resilience the whole time down here with them. So I'm proud of them.
Stephen, you talked after Shady Springs just about how disciplined Bridgeport was. Just what was the message going into the game for the team to keep like, hey, these guys aren't going to make mistakes? I mean, you guys had 7 turnovers, Bridgeport had 9, so there weren't a lot of mistakes on their end.
No, they're not going to make mistakes. I mean, that's the thing is like when we did turn them over, it was like we have to make them pay when they turn it over. So when you get a present, you unwrap it and try to make something of it. And I don't know what our points off turnovers were, but I'd love to know that number. But again, we know they're going to run clock, and they're going to make you guard. They're going to try to attack your closeouts because Anderson McDougal's really good at getting downhill. He's really good, and Dodd does a great job of just stepping in and shooting the three. And so I thought our guys executed our defensive game plan really well, honestly.
What was the key, anything in particular on limiting Dodd? Because he does a lot of things that nobody else on the team really does because of his size and his skill set.
Yeah.
It feels like he can do some things from the perimeter again. But I mean, he goes 2 for 12 in the game. I think that was a big part of why they struggled to score.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with them is with Dodd is you have to attack him. He's long and lanky, but I felt like if we could somehow get him on a switch or out of transition, we wanted to attack him. And the other thing is just making them play 94 feet both ways. It doesn't matter like whether it's our guys or their guys. Your legs are going to get tired. So we have to be we condition all the time in how we practice. And so we just want to be the team that's in better shape. And so I think getting to his legs will also, anytime a shooter's legs are weak, things come up short. But he's a nice shooter.
Eli, the other day against Shady, you guys were down for the majority of the game. How much of an emphasis today, knowing that you had to get off to a better start, was it particularly after you got off to a slow start in the quarterfinal?
First off, I would like to apologize to my teammates and our coaches and stuff for my technical foul. That's not what they deserve, and that's not how they've brought us up throughout the season. So I'd like to apologize. But starting off fast is always a great advantage throughout the game because then the team is chasing you. We got down at the beginning against Shady, and then we had to amp up our pressure. Throughout the game today, we still pressured them, but it ended up turning to where we were up. So then it helped us, it saved us, and then we got to the line, and then we were the ones defending, and they had the pressure on them. When you get up early, it just takes the pressure off you, and you just get to relax and then play your game, and then you make them play a game they're uncomfortable playing.
Mason, you had a couple really good shots in this game.
Just be ready. Coach tells me all the time, catch and shoot. I'm a shooter. Do it in the shoot around. We had a shoot around today. Shot them shots and then take them in a game, and I was ready for them.
How much you shooting the other day?
No, sir.
So I mean, you say it's one thing to tell you to be ready, but like everybody always comes up here and talks about how hard it is to shoot. So how I guess do you maintain your readiness for a stage like this?
Just stay calm and play your game, and just be ready for anything.
Connor, they made a couple runs, got within 7 or 8. You guys always seemed like you had an answer for that. What was kind of the mindset in those moments after they scored for you guys to respond?
I would say just stay calm and run our offense and stay patient. Get the right shot because every possession is big. And I felt like if we get every rebound and we're still looking to attack but staying patient.
Coach, like Connor just said, I mean, you guys controlled the offense, and especially in the fourth quarter. Talk about that strategy you deployed there and how that worked.
Yeah, we wanted them to start chasing us, and then what they'll do is they would they did it to us, and when we played them, they'll start doubling, and so then what we do is we get Cole or somebody in that high post area, and then we would hit him, and then we would have our guys that's more around the corners just dive to the basket, and now we've got a 3-on-1 on that backside or a 3-on-2, and we can get layups. Now we missed some of them, but that's kind of the strategy, and just like they said, make them chase us, and then they're going to have to foul, and then then it comes on to us about just shooting foul shots down the stretch and making foul shots. And we spent a lot of time at that today and shoot around, just shooting foul shots.
Coach, and also one of the scoring runs that was brought up. Bridgeport had cut the lead to 8 at the half, and then you come out in the first 90 seconds after the locker room, and you go on a 9-1 scoring run to go up 16. Was there something that was said in the locker room to kind of push them on that quick start?
Yeah, we just talk about probably every coach in the country would talk about it's always in high school it's the first 4 minutes. So the first 4 minutes of the second half is what's critical. So if you're down, you better push the tempo and really fly around and do whatever. And if you're up, like we still wanted to be in attack mode, and we told them we want to attack. We want to get I said it in the press conference the other day. We want to get points in the paint. Like for Chapmanville, points in the paint's getting it to Terry and Benji Adkins and those guys. Well, that's not us, right? We don't have those guys. So points in the paint to us are our guards getting downhill, right? And then, we track paint touches and then threes off of paint touches, because sooner or later they're going to have to collapse. And then guys like Mason, Cooper, Maddox, Jacob, they can get out there, spot up, and make shots. And it doesn't matter. Like, Mason played a couple minutes the other day just because it was a bad matchup. Today was, and I told him today, now we're back into your matchup, and you just got to go in there, and we have confidence to put you in there, and you got to make shots, and he did. He did that, and the coaching staff and his teammates, all the confidence in the world, whoever we put in the game, doesn't matter. Colby, Cooper, Mason, anybody. We have confidence in those guys to make shots. I thought Wesley played really good today too, number 5. He went in there, got rebounds, defended pretty well. He's a rim protector. So I think everybody that got in the game, it doesn't matter. I don't care all the way down to 34 seconds. The guys that went in with 34 seconds, they still pushed the tempo and played hard. And I think that's important to us in our program.
You mentioned Chapmanville. What's your initial thoughts on them and how your team will match up against them?
They're big. I mean, they're big. Today they made 9 threes. That's, Dalton, I think he was probably 4 for 5 or 5 for 6 or something like that. I mean, he was pretty good today. Brock's pretty good. Kai Martin, Benji. I mean, Benji, look, he's a tight end playing point forward. He's good. But, I'm not going to say it's about them. It's going to be about us. We have to play our game, and we have to, this game is a game of runs. We say it all the time, and they're going to make shots. They're going to go on runs. We have to push back at them. So they're going to have to get back. So we may be worried about our size, but they may be worried about our speed. So I think our guys are excited about the opportunity. I think anybody would be excited about the opportunity to play in a state championship, and you know, I'm excited for them. You know, we just had a call with Chris Exelis. What was it, 2 weeks ago? You know, we called him up and had him on a Zoom call. You know, last time North Marion got even past the first round was 1999. You know, and that guy was a big part of it. Not only was a big part of it, but after his junior year, he had so many prep school offers across the country. And what did he tell you guys? I wanted to stay in Mannington because of the communities and how they treated him. You know, anytime we win, it's not about us. It's about every community that we have. And we preach out to those guys. And, you know, I got a text the other day about a sixth grader that was watching the game. And when we got the tip in, he jumped up and down and cried. You know what that means to us? You know what that means to me? It means a ton. This is a future player in sixth grade crying because we won the game. You know, that it means the world. And when Chris Exelis said that to me and our guys, I just had chills, because here's a guy that is a super high-level player, and he could have went anywhere, and he decided to stay back for his senior season at North Marion because of what the community meant to him. And I think our guys have embraced that too. The communities mean so much to us.
Any further questions? All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.